Under anesthesia. My boyfriend confessed. I've been sleeping with your sister for 8 months. My mom was in the room, and her face went white. That was the moment I learned betrayal doesn't always arrive screaming. Sometimes it slips out in a hospital room, soft and drugged. While someone you love is waking up from surgery. My name is Clara Carver. I'm 35 years old. And until that afternoon, I thought I understood my family. I thought I knew where loyalty lived. I thought love, even when imperfect, they had limits it would never cross. Ethan was having his gallbladder removed. Routine surgery. Nothing dramatic. He had delayed it for months because he hated hospitals and acted like scheduling an appointment was some kind of personal defeat. So I handled the paperwork. Drove him there before sunrise. Sat through the waiting. And held his hand when the nurse wheeled him back into recovery. My mother sat in the visitor chair. Scrolling through her phone like this was just another family errand. The room smelled like antiseptic and weak coffee. Ethan kept mumbling as the anesthesia wore off. Complaining about the IV. Asking if we were late for dinner. Then, laughing at nothing. Then his eyes fluttered open. I've been sleeping with Rowena for 8 months. He said, clear, calm, like he was telling me the weather. My mother's phone hit the floor. The nurse froze. For 3 seconds. Nobody breathed. I looked down at Ethan. Still holding his hand. His fingers were warm. Familiar. The same fingers that had brushed hair out of my face while promising I was the only woman he had ever truly loved. Then he smiled faintly and kept talking. Rowena makes me feel alive. Clara's always working. Rowena actually listens. She knows what I need. My chest went cold. Rowena, my older sister, the golden child. The one my mother always excused. The one who borrowed money and forgot to repay it. Broke promises and called it stress. Ruined moments. And, somehow, became the victim before anyone else could speak. I turned to my mother. What is he saying? She bent down for her phone. But her hands were shaking so badly, she almost dropped it again. Clara, she whispered. He's not himself. People say crazy things after anesthesia. I asked you one question. The nurse cleared her throat. Patients sometimes have vivid dreams during recovery. I didn't look at her. I kept my eyes on my mother. Because her face had already answered me. That wasn't confusion. That was fear. Ethan mumbled again. Hotel, downtown, girls' night. Rowena said Clara would never know. Every word landed like broken glass. I let go of his hand. My mother stood quickly. Clara, don't do anything emotional. That almost made me laugh. Emotional. As if my boyfriend hadn't just confessed to sleeping with my sister for 8 months. As if my mother hadn't gone pale because she already knew. I walked out before I said something that would get security called. I sat in the parking garage for 2 hours, with both hands gripping the steering wheel. Cars came and went. Families walked by, with flowers and balloons. Some were upstairs. Ethan was sleeping peacefully, while the life I had built quietly collapsed. 8 months. 8 months of kisses before work. 8 months of I love you. 8 months of my sister, smiling across holiday tables while wearing my trust like a stolen coat. And my mother knew. Maybe not everything. Maybe not every hotel room. Every lie. Every touch. But she knew enough to panic when the truth slipped out. By the time I started the engine, something inside me had gone silent. I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I didn't call Rowena. I went back upstairs. Kissed Ethan's forehead, like nothing had changed. And became the most caring girlfriend in the world. For the next week, I brought him soup. Changed his bandages. Picked up prescriptions. And listened while he complained about pain, like he was the one suffering the most in the house. He called me an angel. I smiled. Meanwhile, I started digging. First, phone records. Ethan and I had shared a plan for years because it was cheaper. I logged in from my laptop after he fell asleep and stared at the screen until the pattern formed. Hundreds of texts between Ethan and Rowena, calls that lasted 40 minutes. 90 minutes. 2 hours. Every late meeting matched a call to my sister. Every girls' night Rowena claimed to have was followed by Ethan being unreachable. Every time my mother asked where I would be that evening, Rowena and Ethan somehow disappeared at the same time. Then I found the messages. Ethan. She suspects nothing. Rowena, of course she doesn't. Clara only sees spreadsheets. Ethan, you make me feel like a man again. Rowena, then, stop acting guilty. I sat there, in the blue light of my laptop, reading my own humiliation, typed out like entertainment. They called me cold. Predictable. Boring. Ethan said, living with me felt like living beside a locked door. Rowena said, maybe if I wasn't so obsessed with work, I could keep a man interested. My sister wrote that. Me sister? Who had asked me for money after her divorce. My sister, whose kids I had babysat. My sister, whose business mistakes I had cleaned up quietly, because Mom always said, Rowena just needs support. I screenshotted everything. Then came the credit cards, hotel charges. I had never noticed. Restaurants across town. A jewelry store receipt from Tiffany's. Not for me. The worst part was the business account. Rowena and I ran a construction company together. 10 years of work. 10 years of stress. Permits. Payroll. Client calls. And sleepless nights. Equal partners. Shared accounts. Shared trust. And she had been using company money to fund the affair. Hotel suites written off as client meetings. Dinners marked as development expenses. A weekend trip listed as a vendor retreat. My sister hadn't just taken my boyfriend. She had stolen from the company we built. That was when I called Mateo Cruz. Mateo was my old college roommate, and now a private investigator who specialized in corporate fraud. He answered on the third ring. Clara, what's wrong? I told him everything. The hospital confession. My mother's reaction. The phone records. The charges. The texts. For once. Mateo didn't interrupt. When I finished, he exhaled slowly. Your own sister. Yes. What do you need? Everything. I said. Photos. Records. Dates. Proof. I want the truth, so clean. Nobody can call it emotion. He was quiet for a second. This is going to get ugly. I looked across the bedroom at Ethan sleeping in my sheets, pretending he still belonged there. Good. I said. I want it ugly. Mateo worked fast. Within 72 hours. He uncovered enough evidence to bury an ordinary person. Hotel receipts. Restaurant bills. A weekend trip to Las Vegas, disguised as a supplier conference. And then came the surveillance footage. One of Mateo's contacts worked with a private security company that monitored several luxury hotels in the city. For the right price. They shared lobby footage. I sat in his office watching video after video. There was Ethan and Rowena entering the Marriott downtown. There they were, at the Grand Regency. There they were again, at a boutique hotel near the river. The footage from 2 weeks before Ethan's surgery nearly stopped my heart. He had his hand on my sister's lower back. She was wearing the blue dress I'd bought her for her birthday. I stared at the screen. Something cold settled inside me. I wasn't heartbroken anymore. I was finished. 3 days later, Rowena showed up at my office without warning. She walked in like she owned the place. Same expensive heels. Same perfect makeup. Same confident smile that had gotten her out of trouble her entire life. Hey, little sister. I didn't invite her to sit. She sat anyway. We need to talk. About what? She folded her arms. About Ethan. I raised an eyebrow. What about him? She sighed dramatically. You've been neglecting him for years. Somebody had to make him feel wanted. I almost laughed. You're sleeping with my boyfriend. She shrugged. He came to me. The arrogance was breathtaking. You don't understand men. Clara. Ethan needed affection. Attention. Excitement. You were married to your work. I'm not married. You know what I mean. I stared at her. She looked completely comfortable. Not guilty. Not ashamed. Comfortable. You've been stealing from our company to finance your affair. Her smile faltered for half a second. Don't be dramatic. $60,000. That isn't theft. It's business development. Hotel rooms are business development. She leaned forward. You've always been terrible with people. Ethan and I entertained clients. We built relationships with champagne and hotel suites. You're making this ugly. No. Rowena. You did. She crossed one leg over the other. Honestly, maybe this is for the best. Ethan deserves someone who appreciates him. The words hit harder than I expected. My own sister, sitting in my office, explaining why she deserved my boyfriend. You know what your problem is? She asked softly. You think being responsible makes people love you? I didn't answer. You pay bills. You solve problems. You rescue everyone. But you forgot how to make people feel alive. I could suddenly hear my mother saying the same things over the years. Be patient with your sister. Rowena needs extra support. Don't make this into a competition. Every excuse, every favor, every sacrifice, all of it led here. You knew. Mom knew. Didn't you? For the first time. Rowena looked uncomfortable. She was trying to protect the family. The family. She didn't want anyone getting hurt. I laughed. Actually laughed. That's incredible. Clara. No. Tell me. Which family was she protecting? Because it certainly wasn't mine. Rowena's jaw tightened. You've always been stronger than me. There it is. What? The excuse? She frowned. You and Mom always say the same thing. You're fragile. You need help. I'm strong. So I should just absorb the damage. Silence. I stood. So here's the thing. Rowena. She looked up at me. You've mistaken my patience for weakness. Her expression changed. For the first time, I saw uncertainty. You're angry right now, she said carefully. Very. You'll calm down. No. Families survive worse things than this. No. They don't. Clara. You slept with my boyfriend for 8 months. She swallowed. You stole from me. Her face paled. You lied to my face. Listen. And Mom helped cover it up. I never wanted to hurt you. I stared at her. You already did. She stood. So what happens now? I smiled. A small, cold smile. I honestly haven't decided yet. She relaxed slightly. She thought there was room for negotiation. She still thought she could talk her way out of this. Then I added quietly. But I can promise one thing. What? You're going to remember my name for the rest of your life. She blinked. Is that a threat? No. I picked up a folder from my desk. It's a guarantee. For the first time since entering my office. She looked afraid. She opened her mouth to speak but stopped. Then she grabbed her purse. You're overreacting. I didn't answer. You always do this. Clara. You make everything bigger than it needs to be. Still nothing. She headed toward the door. Before leaving, she turned around. Ethan loves me. I finally looked up. Then I hope you make each other very happy. She smiled again. She thought she'd won. The moment the door closed, I called Matteo. How bad is it? He asked. Worse. Well, I have more news. I leaned back. Go ahead. He exhaled. Rowena hasn't just been stealing to fund the affair. A chill ran through me. What do you mean? I've been digging into company records. I sat up. Tell me. She has fake invoices. Inflated expenses. Missing client payments. How long? At least a year. I closed my eyes. A year. She was planning something. Clara. What? Looks like she wanted enough money hidden away to either push you out or dissolve the company and walk with the assets. I didn't speak. There's something else. Of course there is. She has been calling potential clients behind your back. My stomach dropped. What? She told several people you're unstable and difficult to work with. She's positioning herself as the reliable partner. I looked out my office window. Everything suddenly made sense. The strange meetings, the disappearing contracts, The clients who had stopped returning my calls. My own sister had been dismantling my life piece by piece. Clara, I'm here. What do you want to do? I slowly smiled. Nothing. What? Not yet. I stood and walked to the window. Outside. People hurried down the sidewalk. Completely unaware that my entire family was imploding. I'm going to let them feel safe. What are you planning? I watched the city below. Thanksgiving is in 3 weeks. There was a long pause. Then Mateo laughed softly. Oh. Yeah. You're scary when you're calm. Good. What do you need from me? Everything organized. Done. And Mateo. Yeah. When this starts, it won't stop. I smiled. No. I looked at my reflection in the glass. The woman staring back at me didn't look broken. She looked dangerous. 3 weeks. 3 weeks, until I burned down every lie they had built. And none of them had any idea. Thanksgiving at my parents' house had always been a production. My mother treated it like a royal event. The good china came out. The dining table was extended to fit everyone. There were candles, flowers, and enough food to feed an army. This year, the guest list included my parents, Ethan and me, Rowena and her newest boyfriend, Logan, and their 2 children, my aunt and uncle, and a few cousins. The perfect audience. I arrived early to help my father set up extra chairs. Everything okay? Sweetheart, he asked, while carrying dishes into the dining room. I'm fine. He studied me for a second. You look tired. I smiled. Long week. He nodded and let it go. Poor Dad. He had no idea his family was about to explode. Around noon, Rowena arrived. She looked radiant, confident, victorious. She hugged everyone, kissed our mother on the cheek, and smiled at me like nothing had happened. A few minutes later, Ethan came downstairs wearing the sweater I'd bought him last Christmas. He kissed my cheek. You okay? Perfect. You seemed quiet. Just thinking. He smiled. You think too much. If only he knew. Dinner was chaos. As always. Kids running around. Uncle Dennis telling terrible jokes. My mother playing hostess. But I watched. Always watched. I noticed every glance between Ethan and Rowena. Every little smile. Every touch that lasted half a second too long. They weren't even trying anymore. At one point, Ethan whispered something in her ear. She laughed. Then she looked at me. There was pity in her eyes. Pity. As if I were the loser in this story. Even Logan noticed. He frowned several times. Watching the way Rowena and Ethan behaved, I made a mental note. After dinner, while everyone was eating pie, Ethan cornered me in the kitchen. See how happy she is, he said quietly. Who? Rowena. I nearly laughed. Interesting thing to notice. He ignored that. She deserves happiness. I folded my arms. Does she? He nodded. You've never understood her. She's lonely. She's misunderstood. You sound very protective. He sighed. I care about her? There it was. No more hiding. No more pretending. I looked at him carefully. Do you love her? He hesitated. Then he said softly. Yes. I felt absolutely nothing. Not anger. Not heartbreak. Nothing. Thank you for your honesty. He frowned. That's all you're going to say. For now. You're taking this better than I expected. I smiled. I know. He looked relieved. He thought I'd accepted it. Then I said quietly. I have something to tell you, too. What? I stepped around him. Come into the dining room. He followed me. Everyone looked up as I stood near the fireplace. I cleared my throat. Before we do our gratitude speeches, I want to share something I'm thankful for. The room became quiet. I smiled. I'm thankful for the truth. Confused looks. I'm thankful for learning who the people in my life really are. My mother stiffened. Rowena's smile disappeared. Ethan suddenly looked nervous. I took my phone from my pocket. Mom, you've always taught us that family should never betray each other. She swallowed. Clara. So I thought everyone deserved to hear something. I pressed play. Ethan's voice filled the room. I've been sleeping with Rowena for 8 months. Silence. Absolute silence. Then his voice again. Rowena makes me feel alive. The color drained from my mother's face. My father slowly turned toward her. I let the recording continue. Hotel rooms. Girls' nights. Lease. Confessions. Then I stopped it. Nobody moved. Nobody breathed. What is this? My aunt whispered. I connected my phone to the television. The first image appeared. Hotel surveillance footage. Rowena and Ethan entering a hotel. Another photo. Another. Then the financial records appeared. Hotel bills. Restaurant charges. Business expenses. Screenshots of messages. Texts mocking me. Laughing at me. Using company money. The room exploded. What the hell? Logan shouted. You've been sleeping with him, one of my cousins yelled. Ethan stood abruptly. Clara. This isn't how. Oh. We're just getting started. I played another recording. This one from my office. Rowena's voice. You neglected him. Somebody had to make him feel wanted. Gasps filled the room. Then came the receipts. $60,000 in stolen company funds. Fake invoices. Fraudulent expenses. My father's face became unreadable. Rowena, he whispered. My sister stood. This isn't what it looks like. I laughed. No, then what exactly does 8 months of hotel footage look like? Clara. Stop. Stop. I looked at her. You slept with my boyfriend. Tears appeared in her eyes. You don't understand. No. I understand perfectly. She looked at our mother. Mom. And then it happened. My mother stood. How dare you humiliate your sister like this? The room froze. I blinked. What? Rowena made mistakes. But this should have been handled privately. I stared at her. Privately. She has been struggling since her divorce. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. She slept with my boyfriend. She needed support. She stole from me. She wasn't thinking clearly. My voice dropped. You knew. Silence. You knew the entire time. She looked away. That was answer enough. Dad slowly stood. Linda. She looked at him. You knew. Tears filled her eyes. I was trying to protect the family. By helping one daughter destroy the other. Rowena needs us. And Clara doesn't. She has always been stronger. There it was. The truth? The same excuse. Again, Dad looked like someone had punched him. 42 years. He whispered. What? I've been married to you for 42 years. Don't do this. And I never realized how little you valued one of our children. That's not fair. No, he snapped. She betrayed her sister. She stole from her. She lied to everyone. And your first instinct is to defend her. Tears ran down my mother's face. You don't understand. No. Dad said quietly. I finally do. The room was completely silent. Then he looked at me. I had never seen so much sadness in his eyes. I'm sorry. Sweetheart. Dad, I should have seen this years ago. He turned and walked upstairs. 5 minutes later, he returned, carrying a suitcase. My mother stood. Where are you going? He looked at her like she was a stranger. Away. You're leaving. Yes. You can't leave over this. I can. He walked toward the door. Then he stopped beside me and placed his hand on my shoulder. You did the right thing. Tears burned behind my eyes. Then he left. The front door closed. And everything changed. Around the table. Everyone looked stunned. Logan grabbed his coat. You destroyed this family. He told Rowena. Logan. Please. No. He looked at Ethan with disgust. And you. Ethan couldn't even speak. Anna be one. People began leaving. No one comforted my mother. No one defended my sister. Eventually, only 4 people remained. Me, Ethan, Rowena, and my mother, the 4 people who had started this disaster. My mother sat at the head of the table, surrounded by dirty dishes and cold food. She looked old. For the first time in my life, she looked defeated. Rowena was crying. Ethan looked terrified. I felt nothing. I picked up my coat. Clara. Ethan said. I ignored him. Please. I kept walking. Clara. I turned. He looked desperate. What happens now? I looked at him for a long moment. Then I smiled. You find out. I walked out the front door and into the cold night air. Behind me, I could hear my mother crying. The controlled demolition had finally begun. And the worst part for them? I was only getting started. The week after Thanksgiving felt like watching a building collapse in slow motion. Every lie, every secret, every betrayal. Anne B1. They all came crashing down. Ethan was the first to show up. Monday morning. He walked into my office, looking exhausted. His eyes red from lack of sleep. Can we talk? No. Please. Clara. I didn't look up from my computer. You have 30 seconds? He sat down. I never wanted any of this to happen. I almost smiled. Really. I didn't mean to hurt you. You had 8 months to stop. He swallowed. Things just happened. No. I said calmly. You made choices. He looked miserable. I was lonely. You could have talked to me. You were always busy. You could have left. He looked down. You don't understand. I finally looked at him. Then explain it to me. He rubbed his face. Rowena listened. She made me feel important. So you slept with my sister. His eyes filled with tears. I made a mistake. I laughed softly. A mistake is forgetting an anniversary. He flinched. An affair that lasts 8 months is a lifestyle. Clara. No. I stood. You don't get to rewrite this story. He looked broken. I still love you. I stared at him. You don't love me. I do. No. Ethan. You loved what I gave you. He looked confused. Stability. Loyalty. A home. Someone who forgave you every time you disappointed them. Tears rolled down his face. I never wanted to lose you. Well? I said softly. You should have thought about that before sleeping with my sister. Silence. Then he whispered. Can we fix this? No. The words seemed to physically hurt him. You're just throwing us away. I shook my head. You threw us away 8 months ago. He started crying. Real crying. I felt nothing. You're so cold. No. I said. I'm finally awake. I walked to my office door and opened it. You need to leave. He stood slowly. Please don't do this. I looked him in the eye. I already did. He left. I never cried after he was gone. I simply sat down and returned to work. An hour later, Mateo called. You're going to like this. Should I be worried? Fraud charges have officially been filed. I leaned back. That was fast. Your sister was sloppy. What happens now? She'll probably be arrested this week. I closed my eyes. I had imagined that moment so many times, instead of satisfaction. I felt tired. Deeply tired. There's more. Mateo said, Of course there is. Your mother has been calling everyone trying to fix things. I laughed. Good luck with that. She also called me. She offered me money to make evidence disappear. I sat upright. She did what? She offered $20,000. I couldn't believe it. Even now, even after everything, my mother was still trying to save the golden child. Did you record it? Every second. I smiled. Beautiful. By Wednesday, Rowena was arrested. The news spread quickly. The local business community heard about the fraud investigation. Clients called, employees called, even old friends reached out. The surprising thing, nobody blamed me. Most people simply said the same thing. We're sorry. Apparently, everyone had noticed the favoritism in my family. I was simply the last person to see it. That evening, my father called. How are you holding up? I'm okay. No. You're not. I smiled sadly. No. Probably not. He sighed. I owe you an apology. Dad, I should have protected you. You didn't know. I should have. Silence. Then, he said quietly. I filed for divorce today. I closed my eyes. Are you sure? Yes. You still love Mom? I do. Then why? His voice broke. Because I don't know who she is anymore. Neither did I. I spent 42 years believing we were raising our daughters equally. He continued. I didn't realize I was watching one child be sacrificed for the other. Tears filled my eyes. Dad, I'm sorry. Sweetheart. I cried after we hung up. Not for Ethan. Not for Rowena. For my father. Because sometimes betrayal doesn't just destroy relationships, it destroys memories. Suddenly, every Christmas looked different. Every birthday. Every family vacation. I began seeing the favoritism everywhere. The excuses. The extra chances. The way I was expected to be understanding because I was the strong one. I finally understood something. Being strong had become everyone else's excuse to hurt me. A month later, the divorce paperwork with Ethan was finalized. He moved into a small apartment. I kept the house. The joint accounts were closed. Everything was divided. Clean. Simple. Over. As for Rowena, the evidence was overwhelming. Fraud. Embezzlement. Theft. Her attorney tried to negotiate. It didn't work. She eventually accepted a plea deal. 3 years in prison. Restitution payments. Probation afterward. The day she was sentenced. My mother called me 23 times. I never answered. Then came the voicemail. Please. Clara. We're still family. I deleted it. A few months later, my father moved into an apartment downtown. He looked lighter, happier. We started having dinner together once a month. Slowly, we rebuilt our relationship. As for my mother, she remained alone in the family house. Dad had let her keep it. Apparently, losing her marriage and watching her favorite daughter go to prison wasn't enough to make her understand. She still left voicemails, talking about forgiveness, healing, family. I never returned the calls. 1 year later, my company was thriving. Without Rowena stealing money and sabotaging clients, business had never been better. I hired a new partner, a good person, honest, reliable, everything my sister had pretended to be. One afternoon, my assistant buzzed my office. Ms. Carver, there's someone here to see you. Who? A pause. It's Ethan. I stared at the city through my office window. Send him in. He walked inside. I almost didn't recognize him. He looked older, thinner, defeated. Hi. I didn't offer him a seat. You have 2 minutes. He swallowed. I've made a lot of mistakes. I said nothing. I've spent the last year thinking about everything. Still nothing. I ruined my life. I folded my arms. Yes. His eyes filled with tears. Rowena never loved me. I wasn't surprised. She only wanted to win. I said nothing. And I lost everything. There it was. Not I miss you. Not I'm sorry. I lost everything. I understand now. He said. Do you? I should have chosen you. I looked at him. No. He blinked. What? You shouldn't have chosen me. Confusion crossed his face. You should have respected me. Silence. You didn't lose me because you picked the wrong woman. Ethan. A tear rolled down his cheek. You lost me because you betrayed me. He began crying. I still love you. I smiled sadly. No. You don't. I do. No. You miss what I gave you. He looked shattered. I can change. Maybe. We could start over. No. Please. I walked around my desk. You know something strange. He looked up. I used to think losing you would destroy me. Clara. But it didn't. I opened my office door. It saved me. He broke. Actually broke. Sobbing. Please don't do this. I looked at him one final time. Ethan. He looked up hopefully. You've been dead to me for a very long time. Silence. Then I called my assistant. Can you please escort him out? He stared at me. You really feel nothing. I thought about it. The answer surprised even me. No. My assistant gently led him toward the door. Before leaving, he turned back. I hope you're happy. I smiled. I really am. The door closed. I returned to my desk. Outside my window, the city moved as if nothing had happened. People laughed. Cars filled the streets. Life continued. And for the first time in years, I realized something. Revenge isn't screaming. It isn't destroying someone with your own hands. Sometimes revenge is simply surviving. Sometimes it's building a beautiful life after people tried to ruin yours. And sometimes, the greatest punishment you can give the people who betrayed you is letting them watch you thrive. Without them,